Hey, Tara Strong here, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Fun being Catholic. We have the Pope. The Pope's kind of like the Catholic superhero. He's got the cape, the cool hat. I mean, his car's called the Pope Mobile. I have a lot of respect for the Pope, but does anyone look more tired than the Pope? Poor guy, God's working him to death. You know you're tired when you can't support your head. You ever see him on TV? He's like, translator's like, I don't know what he's saying. He just asked for a hot pocket. Pope pocket. Would have been weird to go to high school with the Pope. You know, somebody did. Somebody sat at home watching TV in Poland. They see the Pope on TV. They're like, wait a minute. That guy was kind of a dick. Now he's Pope. I got a swirly from the Pope. It would be great if you had a kid that ended up being Pope. That'd be the ultimate bragging rights. Oh, your son's a doctor? Yeah, ours is Pope. He does okay for himself. Oh, they have a house. He has his own city. It's in Europe. You think when the Pope was a little kid, he fantasized about eventually being Pope? You know, we might about being a professional athlete. Was he like 8 years old in his backyard going, there he is, the leader of all the Catholics. What a Pope. You gotta wonder what the Protestants think of this new Pope.
You are now on the inside of what I like to call the circle of trust. We are all connected. The great circle of life.
You know something, Bert? What? I think you and I are going in circles.
It feels like we're going in circles.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Because it's a circle.
Yeah, we heard about the circle.
Yes, we're familiar with shapes.
Hi, this is Greg.
This is Chuck.
And this is Dan. And we are Talking in Circles, brought to you by the Geekcast Radio Network, the podcast that's always hooked on a feeling. Well, hopefully everyone had a wonderful week. We certainly did. And today is a special episode because we are live in Dan Clark's studios, also known as my kitchen table, in Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland, USA. How's everything going with you guys?
Being charmed by the city, of course.
It's helpful when we don't actually go into it. It makes it a little bit more charming. How about yourself, Chuck?
Not too bad. Wanted to thank some of the listeners for the birthday wishes on Facebook there. That was much appreciated.
Yeah, very, very happy birthday. Hopefully it was a joyous occasion.
Indeed. Lots of cool stuff. Hopefully find some cool comics on Amazon or something.
Yes, we actually all just got back from a classic venture to the comic book store where we spent many hours just gauging and looking at awesome comics. Picked up some stuff, of course, because that's what we do.
We also lost Chuck in the toy section.
Yes. Also known as like the nostalgia closet of classic toys from all over. We used to own that, and I used to own that. I remember playing with that.
I think this is mine. They took it. So.
I'll just take this back right now.
I literally fell in the one bin and got lost. Greg and Dan had to pull me out. So.
Yeah, I was worried we would not get you out of there. Yeah.
Came out with a few price tags on me, too. So.
As every comic book fan knows, you never leave your friend behind at a comic book store. We're going to kind of get back to basics this week. We have just a little bit of what we've been watching, and then for our second segment, we always like to do something random. We'll be doing a lot of random things, playing some different games, and we have some random news stories that are weird but true. So a little bit of a kind of a grab bag episode this week. My week has actually been a little bit interesting, as you guys had the experience driving in our brand new car that we just recently bought. And of course, anyone's ever bought in a car, that's always an adventure. And when we did it, I know nothing about cars. And for some reason, I, on occasion, will be awkwardly honest when I don't need to be. For example, when I bought my last car, we were talking to the car dealer, and for no apparent reason, not prompting whatsoever, I just told the guy, yeah, I really don't know much about cars, which is not a great way to start a conversation with a guy trying to sell you a car. One time at Macy's, when my wife and I were buying something, she was at the cash register buying something, and they did that classic, do you want the credit card thing? And Carol's like, my wife's like, no, I don't want one. And then I said, we actually have one, we just forgot it. For no reason whatsoever, there's just this awkward silence as I basically revealed that Carol was lying to that lady, just to get through the conversation. So no reason whatsoever. She's like, why did you do that? I don't know. I just, for some reason, said it out loud and couldn't stop myself.
You had a case of the truths.
Yes. This year that didn't happen. I played it cool. I acted like I didn't really care every time Carol will say something amazing. I did the I don't really like it type of stuff. But we ended up walking away with a nice car. We enjoy it. So
it's got 4 wheels, right?
It does have 4 wheels.
It's got an engine.
It has an engine. Has steering wheels.
It's got gas parts.
It does have gas parts. That's the one thing I do know a lot about is gas parts. I'm glad it's done and over with. My wife needed a new car. I still have my glorified go-kart. That is a car. But I like the small cars. Hers is nice. It has all the bells and whistles. What's kind of funny about buying a car, though, is like the difference between buying a car from the salesman and how wonderful it is, how great it is. And then when you get to the lady trying to sell you the warranty and how this amazing car that is so reliable turns into, this thing is a death trap. This thing will, any moment, all these things could break like immediately. You should really get this warranty. I'm like, what happened to this amazing car I'm about to buy? Suddenly it is about to explode any moment. That's just kind of funny, like when they try to sell you the warranty. So, but besides all that, have you guys been, I know it's been a busy week outside of just crazy life with birthdays and whatnot, but have you been watching anything, listening to anything like that? Greg, how about yourself?
Well, I went to the movies with this girl I'm friends with, and she really wanted to see Divergent, so we went to the theaters to watch that.
Bit the bullet, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of that teenage girl book affair. That kind of
teenage girl book affair. I like that.
that we all seem to be stuck in this day and age. There was Twilight. There's now Divergent, and there's some other books in there. They're not really coming to mind right now. So essentially, Divergent kind of hits a lot of the notes that a lot of the movies hit anymore. There was kind of felt a little bit like Harry Potter, a little bit like Hunger Games type situation. But the setup kind of took a while for the movie. There was a lot of origin story to kind of wade your way through, and apparently it's like a post-apocalypse Chicago, because we don't have enough post-apocalyptic movies.
The Michael Jordan statue's still there, right?
They did not show that. I'm sorry, Chuck.
Damn it.
They didn't even mention the Chicago Bulls at all.
That's a landmark, though.
Not in this timeline.
Jerks.
It's a Jalen Rose statue now. It's really weird.
But essentially, the city looks like it's just the city with a whole bunch of farmland and desolate wasteland around it.
Yeah, Chicago has a perfect climate for farming.
And apparently the setup of the government and the structure underneath, it's set up into different communities. And it's a weird setup of how they did the communities, because it kind of goes with their emotional state and what they're good at. So there's like a selfless tribe, there's the peaceful tribe, there's the truthful, there's the intelligent, and then there's the brave. It was kind of weird with that. And they were all given really ridiculous names instead of like, oh, these are the brave people, these are our warriors. Instead of like calling them warriors, they gave them some weird, ridiculous name that, of course, I'm not going to remember at all.
Was it Greek?
It was not Greek, but it was Greek to me.
Oh, snap.
Thank you. And then they had, they also tried to keep it easy for you to realize who was in each thing by kind of giving people different colors and iconography. So they all had different symbols and everything.
So basically it's a bunch of sports teams?
Kind of, yeah, except their government that's very kind of power struggling at this moment in time. And it gets a bit Harry Potter and the Sorting Hat, where the kids have to go get...
Sorry.
Did you see this movie, Dan?
No, that reference makes me wonder. It's like people with a magical hat all of a sudden
No, this one's more like they get injected with some kind of drug, and then they get sorted out into which one of these 5 different categories they get stuck into.
Did they have one for podcasters?
I don't think so.
No.
There was not a creative part section. I was hoping that this girl, the main character, would get stuck in Hufflepuff, though.
I'm more of a Ravenclaw fan.
But if you...
I am so lost right now.
But
Speak English.
But if the quote unquote hat can't decide where you're supposed to end up, you're apparently a divergent, and that's apparently a bad thing. Even though all the way through the movie they're like, oh, divergent, and it made it sound like they would kill you if you were a divergent. There were tons of them all over the street. And they were like, oh, there's a divergent over there. We arrest them. They're just hanging out. And they all look like homeless people.
So they're like skateboarders and stuff?
It's more like homeless people. They're not as cool. They can't afford the skateboards.
But they probably look alike, though. If you think about it, you take away the skateboard from most skateboarders, and it's like that's just a homeless person.
Yeah, and the girl Triss goes with the warrior tribe. You can also decide where you want to go, but you have to stay in this place that you're going. You can't switch sides once you've figured it out, which made no sense in my kind of structure of mind. I'm like, well, I can't just go over there. If they're going to be happier over there, let them go. Let them be happy.
You can't change your major, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But she goes to the warrior tribe, and they're like the skateboarders, like rebel. They're like freaking climbing on every fucking thing that's available.
The parkour club.
Essentially, yeah, they're like climbing up the ramps to get into the train and everything, going all crazy.
Climbing unnecessarily. It's like, stop climbing. There are escalators.
The thing that bugged me about the beginning really is there's no explanation of why the society is set up in such a shitty manner like this, like why they're put into these 5 different categories. I'm assuming there's going to be more movies because there's more books, but it just kind of bugged me, and I felt like it would have helped out the movie a little bit.
So they don't give any type of like exposition whatsoever. It's just like, this is this world, and live with it.
It's just, this is this post-apocalyptic world. They're set into these factions once like the test and everything, and to stay with one emotional state that you're kind of building your whole thing off of was really weird, especially when the girl, she goes into the fearless tribe, I guess you'd call it, and but she goes into the fearless tribe, and then even once you get into the tribe, you still have to prove yourself to the tribe, and so they have to go through all these tests and everything, and they don't give you like time to like even like get your physical ability up there. As soon as you're in, you're getting tested. And this
for STDs?
Yes. A lot of them look like they should be tested with the amount of tattoos that are on them. But they're getting tested, and they get sent right into it. So there's going to be like fighting going on. They're going to get tested on their fights and who makes it through and everything. But like this girl, the tribe that she used to be in, all they eat is like plants and stuff. It's all vegetables. They get no protein. How is this fair? How is she gonna be? Give her a chance to at least get up to that status. She has no muscle. And they're like, oh, you gotta punch that harder. Well, she's trying really hard. She just found out what a hamburger was.
Kind of hard to gain strength from lettuce.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I felt like the premise of the different emotional states or being fearless and everything, it was too broad of a philosophical subject for them to fully cover in this movie, because I felt like, kind of like how I feel about the Bible, where there's some things that I don't really get because it's such a broad concept. I felt it was the same kind of way.
I think the remedy for that is just to have more explanation, which you said they didn't have in this movie. They just kind of thrust you into this story already in motion.
Yeah, and there's a lot of setup and a lot of training. Like they would have done a montage for it in the 80s. There was no montage.
No montage. No sports montage?
No, there was no catchy song. Nothing like that.
No punching meat. Oh, they didn't eat meat. So that is the key to all of this. If they had meat, they would have the ability to do the montage. See, vegetarians are evil, is what we're trying to say.
That and you need to grow a beard and trudge through snow.
Yeah.
Climb a mountain, fight a Russian.
So the main girl, they had her fight this other girl, and she got her ass kicked, of course. But then there was another girl that fought another person, and she was kind of like screamed for mercy, but please no, let it end. So the group was really pissed at her and like nearly killed her and everything. But then the main character has to fight yet again.
Are they fighting like in a tournament, or are they just fighting?
No, it's just like on a giant mat. There's kind of like a ranking situation going on, and like some get cut out after a certain period of time, and they're being tested the whole time.
So this is like Karate Kid meets the Hunger Games?
Kind of, I guess. But it was really weird that she didn't give up, but she got her ass kicked and she got punched out. But still, she lost points anyway. She was fearless, but she still lost points. I don't get it. But besides that, it was an alright movie. It kind of picked up a little bit towards the end. The weirdest, creepiest part of this whole situation was I'm 28 years old. I'm pretty sure I was the oldest person in the theater. And apparently the protagonist, Triss, her love interest in this movie, apparently really attractive to teenage girls. I'm pretty sure he's older than me. The girl behind me, I swear to God, was going to pass out. All I heard behind me was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And when he appeared on the screen, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I feared for my life. I thought I was going to get thrown in jail.
Yeah, that sounds wrong.
It was.
You were staring at the exit sign, weren't you?
Yes. I was making sure no police were going to come in and arrest me.
Yeah.
I felt very dirty afterward.
I know what you mean, because I've been forced to watch some of the Twilight movies with my wife. The worst part was when like middle-aged women would get excited for that Jacob guy. And I'm like, he's like 19 years old and you're like 50. That's like your son's friend. That's really creepy. Stop doing it. But yeah, I can imagine with young teenage girls being stuck in that. I didn't have that experience, but I also had the experience when I went to go see like Wreck-It Ralph, and I went by myself, and I realized I'm this creepy guy going to see a kids movie, and there's by himself with just families and little kids. I'm like, this just looks weird.
I thought somebody was going to be clamoring for Ralph.
Yeah, interesting enough. So would you recommend Divergent to anyone who's not a teenage girl?
If you think you can make it through what felt like 2 hours of origin and setup, which is part of movies that I don't really care for, the last hour or so I thought was pretty good and interesting, but I just thought it was too broad of a concept, and I felt they were all over the place with it. If your girlfriend or significant other tries to drag you out to it, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that much of a love story. It's more about family. I think you can make it through, and I think it was a good movie for female empowerment type of stuff.
Very nice, very nice.
Boo.
That's horrible. Oh, wait, my wife can hear. Sorry. Anyways, Chuck, how about yourself? Have you been watching anything?
I have not been up to too much recently, actually. I did get to see a couple things that weren't exactly too geeky, but I did get to watch The Diary of Anne Frank on Netflix. My girlfriend and I watched this one night.
Wow, that's a transition.
It is, yeah. I mean,
Triss and Anne Frank suffered the same plight.
Yeah, you know, talking about female empowerment and everything. But this is the newer one from 2009. I guess
new Anne Frank from 2009? There's another one?
Yeah, of course. It's the sequel. This is bad.
Oh.
Anywho, this is this.
More CGI this time.
I feel like we should have Spice Girls playing during this part of the podcast.
There was a cameo by Magneto. He was bending the gate. But anyway, this was a different one than what we kind of were used to watching back in high school when we used to watch Anne Frank for history class or whatever. I don't know if everyone did that, or maybe my school was just so bad that all we did was watch movies.
We just watched Braveheart about 50 times in my high school.
That's okay. We watched Apollo 13, and it took us like 4 weeks in science class. We were just like, nope, we're before that.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was from 2009. It was a little newer one. It was good. There were no big name actors really or anything. They kind of just portrayed their, everyday life while they were in hiding. And during the whole thing, you had some narration from the actress that played Anne Frank.
Morgan Freeman?
You would think, but no.
How does he do as a Jewish girl?
That was a knock against the movie, that they didn't get Morgan Freeman to narrate it. He actually would have been more believable, but she.
All I'm getting is an image of Morgan Freeman trying to play a young Jewish girl.
You're welcome, Dan.
I think he could pull it off. I don't know.
He probably could. And the Oscar goes to Morgan Freeman for Anne Frank.
Oh man. Yeah, she. You get some narration from the actress, and it's like quotes from the actual diary and everything. There were some really strange parts that I was shocked that they left in.
Like Morgan Freeman.
that I wouldn't be shocked they left in. That would be a pleasant surprise. But just some of her innermost girl thoughts, stuff you really didn't need to know.
She also liked the guy from Divergent.
Probably.
She was actually sitting by me in the theater going, oh my God.
It was just, I know they're trying to get as realistic as possible and everything. And, there's this other family that was staying with them, and she kind of started getting feelings for this boy that was with them and everything. But they just left some stuff in there that was just TMI. Her feeling like she wants to touch herself and stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, why is it in this movie?
I was thinking, wow, we're being offensive, but that sounds way more offensive than anything we could possibly say.
I know, I heard it, and I'm like, what the freak? Seriously? I know they wanted to kind of get, realistic and stuff, but that was weird. But the craziest part, even crazier than that, there was this one specific part where the Nazi soldiers were searching the building downstairs, and everybody had to be super quiet. So they're all kind of huddling in this one room, and the one lady from the other family, not the Frank family, she really has to use the bathroom. She's got to go number 2 really bad. She's like, I need to use the toilet,
That was me on the trip here. For number 1, though.
So they're all like, no, you can't, because it'll make too much noise. And she's like, I have to use the toilet. So they all hold her back and they don't let her go, and they hand her this wastebasket and just for her to sit on. And she puts it down and sits on it, and just right in front of everybody just proceeds to take a crap like a champ.
Like a boss.
Just here I am, everybody.
Rock you like a hurricane.
Having a bowel movement right now. Just look over there.
So this was the Anne Frank slapstick comedy with fart jokes.
Oh, it wasn't funny, trust me.
Oh, okay.
And it was weird because everybody's just sitting there and they're all looking at her, and they all make the face even too, like something smells really bad.
I just wonder what the Nazis searching below are thinking. What the hell smells in here? Franz, did you fart?
They got a really bad bat problem in this building. The attic, it stinks. But everybody's looking at her, and they hand her a couple of pages from a magazine or something to use to wipe with or something. But it was just a really weird part of the movie that they kind of stuck in there. I thought it was kind of weird, but it's just crazy thinking about all that they had to go through, those two families that lived in there. And I guess that part just kind of drove that home for me. I guess it's the small stuff that you never thought about that you have to do, and
yeah,
just there were various other points in the movie where they had to be really quiet because there were soldiers downstairs. And
I love how this got really somber after a whole bunch of shitting jokes.
We can recommence shitting jokes if you want.
Of course.
Overall, it's a depressing movie. I tried to enjoy it somewhat, but you get they kind of end it with the soldiers like finding them, and they just put the little words on the screen for each character, and that's how you know it's a true story. Because they have the little words there. And I learned something that I didn't know before, and that was that the father, Anne Frank's father, was the only one of the group that ended up surviving the whole thing. I think he passed away in like the 80s or something.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Something like that. But the rest of them were killed in concentration camps, and he was the only one that survived. So that was interesting. I did learn something from it. But so that was that one. And the other thing that I watched, it was this really horrible sci-fi movie that was on none other than the Sci-Fi Channel.
Wait, they never play those.
Yes, it's hard to believe. I don't even know the name of this movie because I kind of picked it up in the middle of it.
I'm sure that made the plot hard to understand.
Yeah. I don't know.
This will be a game for the listeners to try and figure out what the name of this movie was.
Yes, and I'm pleading for help. If anyone knows the title of this movie, please comment or something, because I kind of want to know. I kind of want to look it up again. But basically, there was this town, and these storm clouds would come in, and this mist, like cloud stuff, would shoot down from the sky. Was it the
mist?
It was not the mist.
Stephen King's The Mist. I'm pretty sure. You said mist a couple of times already.
This like cloud thing would shoot down, and it would come into the form of like a person. You could kind of see a head or something, and it would come up to a person, and you'd see this like blue lightning arc across into the person's mouth, and the person would
It was a Sith Lord, Chuck. It's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the person would just explode, and there would be this huge pile of ash on the ground where the person was standing. And they kept calling it a storm, but apparently it was like this just huge mass of evil spirits existing in this big cloud. I don't know. I didn't understand it. Maybe somebody else could. But they run into these buildings, and they realize they have to seal off the windows and doors because the smoke like rolls in the tiniest cracks. So
was it the fog?
I have no idea. It could have been.
Somebody got out a thesaurus.
Was it the smoke?
Was it the ground cloud?
Was it secondhand smoke?
Was it the ash people lightning strike?
Was it newer or was it older?
I think it was newer. It was definitely newer.
Was it Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, and it was a Galactus?
Wow, it wasn't Galactus. I don't know. It was really strange, and it was after like a certain person. It was after a priest because his father killed someone like way friggin' back in the day. But it would kill anyone in the town. They would have to duct tape the windows and doors to seal it off so this like smoke cloud wouldn't roll in and stuff. It was super corny. They ended up trying to stop it with using like electricity and like this advanced computer system because they somehow measured the frequency of the spirits in the cloud in like megahertz. They're like, oh, all this evil spirits are like 300 megahertz and everything.
Gigawatts?
Yeah, gigawatts. 1.21. So they realized like, okay, we're going to send this weather balloon up into the sky and anchor
Area 51 all over again.
We're going to anchor it to this tower with battery jumper cables. And when I give the signal, like switch the megahertz from like 80 to 300 and it'll electrocute all the spirits in the cloud.
But it's throwing out electricity, so they're going to defeat it with more electricity.
Yes.
Okay.
And they have this talisman thing that, somehow repels it. So
the power of Christ compels you.
Their feeling was that when the lightning strike hits this spirit cloud, it'll be grounded because it's attached to this tower. So it'll be grounded, send them into the ground, and they put the talisman on top of the ground, which keeps them in the ground.
Did they have like a book to like find this information from? Because I don't know how you can leap to, this talisman, it's shooting out electricity. We could fight it with more electricity.
Well, they had a paranormal investigator, and he knew everything. You know, those guys know everything. So
Did he have his own reality TV show? Because then you really know.
So
that separates the professionals from the amateurs.
So that movie was interesting, but it was pretty terrible. But if anybody has an idea of what that might have been, please comment.
So we can avoid it next time.
Yeah. So if we're going through the TV guide, not watching that. So
I'd probably watch it.
That's pretty much what I've been up to. So.
All right, I just have one quick thing, and I won't talk a great deal because there's actually a review on the site at geekcastradio.com of it, and that is of Noah, the latest Darren Aronofsky film.
Who built the ark? Noah.
I don't know that song. Is that a thing you just created?
I don't know that song.
No, I'm pretty sure when I actually did go to church for about 1 or 2 days, I think that was a song. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well, anyways, I guess that's a question with this movie. Noah is the big controversy is the fact that it's not a straightforward adaptation of the story of Noah. The trailers really don't give you a good idea of what it's really like. It's more like Lord of the Rings than that of the Bible or like Ten Commandments. It's very similar to like 80s fantasy films in a way. It has that feel. If you knew nothing of Noah, if you knew nothing of that story, and you saw this movie, you would probably not really guess it's a Bible story. It does talk about creation. It does talk about the Bible. That's certainly there. It gets into the Garden of Eden and those stories are certainly there, but it's more fantastical. A good example of the fact that there's these fallen angels that are in the form of rock creatures.
When you said fallen angels, I was thinking Emma Watson.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
She looks like she fell from heaven.
And it hurts. No, these
not
are...
as bad as that joke.
It's basically they're fallen angels after man falls, and they take these former rock creatures and they help Noah build the ark. I personally didn't have an issue changing that stuff. Like I know some people might, which is fair. What I liked about it too is Aronofsky didn't just change it to change it. He kind of looked at the moral ambiguity of the idea of Noah and what it means, and kind of the mindset someone would have to be kind of undergo that task. And he plays with that a little bit. You know, Russell Crowe's in it. Emma Watson is in it as like their adopted daughter, and it's really good. I actually enjoyed it. There's some issues for sure. Not all of it works. It does kind of drag near the end, but there's some great imagery. Darren Aronofsky is known for crazy imagery, and he has that here. I like just like the moral questions it asks, gets into, especially near the end with Noah. It's not a movie for everyone. I could see a lot of people being turned off because it's kind of wacky. It does require you to accept a lot, basically. So not something I think you need to rush out in theater and seeing, but I would say, check it out and kind of form your own opinion. Don't let the trailers, don't let the controversy kind of get in your way, because it's worth watching. Anything else before we take a break?
Nope. Good year.
Good.
I need to borrow a wastebasket, though.
Oh, God.
We do have bathrooms. All right.
I do have something. Was Noah better than the sequel to Bruce Almighty? I forget the name of it.
Not as funny, I would say. And the animals, I guess the thing Evan Almighty has that
that was the name.
Noah doesn't, is that Evan Almighty used real animals, but the animals in this really don't take a huge part of it. They kind of just show up and then they fall asleep, and that's pretty much it. So, but I would say Noah is a better movie than Evan Almighty.
So it's like a college kid show. The animals are like a college kid smelling out a kegger.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
They get them drunk, take advantage of them. That's how the Noah family do.
Toga party.
Anyways, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a grab bag of different things we'll be doing. So we'll see you in a bit.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
All right, and welcome back. After the last 2 weeks of the Badass Bracket, we wanted to get back to basics a little bit. So we have a little bit of fun game of Would You Rather. That classic drinking game, but we're going to geekify it like we do. And we have some new stories of the weird, wacky, but true that are necessarily geeky, but fun. And mine, personally, is rather crazy and realizes how sometimes fact is more out there than fiction. But we're going to start things off with the Would You Rather. And if you've never heard of it or ever played the Would You Rather, it's a simple concept. You present a situation, two situations, either say, would you rather eat chocolate or would you rather eat vanilla? And then you explain which one. And if you say chocolate, then you're a horrible person.
A racist.
Exactly. But I'll start with mine. And like I mentioned, these are more geeky-oriented, more geek-friendly, I would say. The first one I have, everyone wants to be a superhero, but we all know with great power comes great responsibility. I don't know where I heard that. Think a movie. So my first question, or would you rather situation for you guys are, two of the most infamous Marvel superheroes are Wolverine and Spider-Man. So if you had the choice to be Wolverine for a day or Spider-Man for a day, who would you rather be? Chuck, how about yourself?
It's a tough choice. Two of my favorite characters. Honestly, I think I'd have to pick Spider-Man for a day. I think for just the fact of swinging from the buildings that high and just having that kind of agility, and you're basically like flying above the streets of New York City. I just think that would be so awesome, just to be able to cross the city in a matter of minutes. And I don't know, I just think I'd have way too much fun doing that for a day.
Greg, do you agree, or would you rather be Wolverine?
I think I'm already emo and depressed enough. I don't need more of the same. I think I would go with Wolverine. I've always kind of dreamed that in my head, got little different scenarios.
Basically, when someone pissed you off, it's like, if I was only Wolverine.
Essentially, sometimes, yeah. And then, plus, he kind of, this is going to make me sound really gross, but he kind of gets around more. Peter Parker does get quality, but it's just, and he gets it wished away, so I think Wolverine's a little bit more consistent on that basis.
Peter Parker does have girls' problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather go with Wolverine on that.
Yeah, Peter Parker has 99 problems, and most of those are girl problems.
It's funny where Greg's reasons went directly to that.
well, not all of it. Also, it's mainly because Spider-Man is emo and depressed, and Wolverine is kind of one of my favorite characters. And I actually do think of, like, before I go to sleep, I'm playing the role of Wolverine in my head.
I think I'd probably go Wolverine too, just because I would have fun with the whole healing factor and just freaking people out left and right, just doing crazy things.
It would hurt like hell, though.
That's true. Yeah. You forget that the pain element's there too, huh? There's something about web shooting that does look look like fun.
I am scared shitless of heights.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be good for me.
Yeah. My next Would You Rather, it's in a completely different vein, not really superheroes, but traveling. I guess this isn't necessarily even geek-centric. This really could be for anyone, but I thought it was an interesting dilemma. Would you rather have the ability to travel to every country that you wanted to go? Obviously, there's countries you don't want to go to. Or, so you can travel to every country that you ever wanted to go to, or spend 1 hour in space. What would you rather do? Greg, would you rather go to space? I know you hate heights, so I feel like
I kind of answered it on the last one with that, I think.
But I guess with space, though, you're not going to fall because there's no gravity, as gravity taught us.
Plus, there's a lot to view, but at the same time, there's not a lot to view in space. I also think you get better quality food down here on Earth. I'd rather and I've got a lot of places on my wish list to go. I'm not the best with traveling. I like to have a traveling companion, so I got off the wrong side of a subway car once, and I had to have my brother go with me. I got off the wrong side of the station, so I'm better with a traveling companion. And I really don't feel like getting lost in space. Lost in space.
Danger. Yeah, I could see that. Chuck, do you agree, or would you rather be a spaceman?
I would agree. I think I think space has a degree of creepiness to it. Just the sheer and utter silence of it, and just being so far away from everything. You get an incredible feeling of loneliness, I would think. But now, don't get me wrong, I would like to see it if I was like the Silver Surfer or something, and you could just fly through at the speed of light and see anything you want. But there's way too many cool places here on Earth that I would just absolutely love to see and experience, and different foods to try, and I think that trumps it by far.
I guess I'm on the other end of this, and I see what you guys are saying regarding seeing other countries and stuff, but I think that the thing that I think of when I think of space going with NASA is that's the ultimate trump card. It's like, oh, what have you done? Okay, you're the Pope. I've been in space. To me, it's like it's hard to top that. I'm also not a big fan of heights, but I guess just that, I don't know, something that's such a limited triumph that so few people have been able to do. I would love to travel, but I don't know. I guess I see both sides of it.
I'm pretty sure the Pope doesn't really have to say his name. I think they see his funny hats and they go, "Oh, that's the Pope."
Yeah.
Oh, here's a guy in a game board popper dice thing. It's the Pope.
Jim Gaffigan would disagree with you. He would want to be Pope.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
He's the greatest Pope in the world.
Your son's quarterback? Oh, mine's Pope.
Yeah. Maybe Pope wasn't a good go-to. More like, oh, you're a doctor? I was in space. Oh, you went to Canada? I went to the moon. I don't know. But enough of me. I guess I'll pass this around. Chuck, you had a few would you rathers as well. What are yours?
Mine are pretty simple. Knowing that we're all pretty big movie buffs here, and everybody at one time or another has aspirations to be something great when you grow up.
Wolverine.
A Pope.
Astronaut Pope.
And we have a new comic.
They would definitely have to make a different helmet for you.
The Pope space helmet, it's just like...
it also looks like the Pope mobile.
Just use the ones that the Coneheads used. So anyway, I mean, going off of those...
Sure not Pope. Sorry.
Those childhood aspirations to become something involved with movies, would you guys rather be an actor in different movies, or would you rather be a director of movies? Dan, why don't you go first?
Oof. I'd rather be a director because a director has more control over a movie. Plus, if it's horrible and no one likes it, most people don't know who you are, so they can't see you. But I think to me, it's just like a director. It's more so you have more control and more vision. It's more what you do. An actor, you're kind of just portraying. You might be more famous, I would say, but I think you're kind of more of a cog in the wheel, less of the person driving.
Craig, what do you think?
Well, I'm more of an introvert, so I'd have to say I'd rather be the director. I also like to be more creative, and being an actor or a director, you still have access to all the cute actresses. So
I was gonna go back to your Wolverine argument. Like, I think an actor probably has a better shot of, Steven Spielberg's not walking down the aisle with any models.
Well, you see.
Well, unless you're Michael Bay. Never mind.
I'm pretty. Isn't Natalie Portman's husband? Isn't he a director or something? He's more a behind the scenes guy. I think.
Yeah, there are some.
Anne Hathaway.
Guy Ritchie was married to Madonna, so that's a knock against that.
Yeah, that is. I'm like, where the hell is he going with this?
Yeah.
Terrible example, but there's still a shot in there.
I guess I would probably make it a clean sweep. I think I would choose to be a director as well. I guess I'm not much for, drawing a lot of attention to myself. I don't know if acting would be the thing for me. I would definitely enjoy it. I could get into it and trying to make a character my own. It would definitely be a fun experience, that's for sure. But I think I would enjoy directing even more. Just molding something, shaping it to represent my vision of something. I think that would be an incredible power and an incredible responsibility to have. And like Dan said, you don't have to take as much of the blame if it goes sour, but if it works out well, everybody's like, oh, that guy's a great director, so you do get a lot of the credit. And also, I know actors have pretty rigorous schedules. I mean, I know the director's job's no piece of cake either, but Directors work actors work really long hours, and their working lives aren't as glamorous as it would seem. So.
I mean, if Kevin Smith can direct, let's be honest.
In a hockey jersey.
Yeah.
Always in a hockey jersey.
So I guess on to my second question, which goes back onto the geeky side of the coin. Put your geek hats back on. If you guys in your current state, your current capacities, say the fate of the world was somehow resting on your shoulders.
We're all fucked.
So like a normal day. All right.
This is a normal Tuesday, Would you rather face someone like Dr. Doom, or would you rather face Thanos?
Ooh. Well, Thanos went farther in the badass bracket, so that's a good question. I would probably go with Dr. Doom, because I feel Dr. Doom's missions and his goals are scope-wise are a lot smaller. Like Thanos is destroying a universe. Dr. Doom might blow up a country. So, I mean, both horrible things, but I think just on the scale aspect of it, you have a better shot against Dr. Doom.
I feel like if I was going up against Thanos, I would be a Jewish woman in an attic shitting into a bucket.
Nice.
With Morgan Freeman watching.
He would narrate the whole fight.
Yeah, I just feel like Dr. Doom, even with a mask on and everything, is more... Well, he is human, and Thanos isn't, so I think Thanos is just even scarier on that concept, so I'm going to go with Dr. Doom. I think he's also, I agree with Dan, he's a little bit more manageable than Thanos is.
I would say, though, I guess the one thing you'd say with Thanos is that he's shown some elements of humanity at certain times, or like you said, he almost does things just to do them, so he might have a better shot at living because he can just get bored with it and do something else.
I thought of something else, though. I might switch my answer because Thanos always defeats himself. So I just might as well just go up against Thanos, do nothing, and he'll just do all the work for me.
Well, there you go.
I will be pooping in a bucket.
He's like the New York Jets of superheroes. He will do the butt fumble. I'm sticking with Dr. Doom, but I could see the argument for Thanos.
Yeah, I honestly think, Thanos with his all of his grand schemes and plans and goals and everything, he doesn't let anything get in his way. But I think the fact that he finds most of his victories hollow, I think he's a philosophical character. I think you would have a better shot of talking him out of it, honestly.
Yeah.
You could probably bring up some sort of point and, make him think about it and maybe try to bribe him with death somehow. Be like, just let me kill you and you'll be his death. He's like, yeah, I win. So, go empty this wastebasket out.
Yay, pizza party.
So, I mean, Dr. Doom just seems like, I don't know, he just seems like ruthless. I mean, I know they call Thanos the Mad Titan. He's kind of a madman, but Doom just seems ruthless and you're not, talking him out of anything. I guess I would go with Thanos because I'd probably like to meet him too. And just tell him to stop wearing the blue and gold skirt because he kind of looks like a girl. He might destroy me in 2 seconds, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. So let's move on to Greg. What are your would you rathers?
I think I'll start off with my more tame one first. Would you guys rather be a part of the Munster family or the Addams family?
I've never really got into the Addams family. It's always more of the Munsters. I felt the Munsters were more fun and more comedic. Grandpa was funny. They also had a monster under the stairs. And who is the person that's normal, and their one daughter who's normal and kind of cute? So then she's your sister, so it doesn't work out.
Or cousin or
whatever. Yeah. So, but I don't know. I like the Munsters, and I like the Munsters have a better car too. It's a pretty sweet ride they got there. So I'm going Munsters.
I'm actually not too familiar with the Munsters, but from what I've seen of the Addams family, they're extremely creepy and
mysterious and kooky.
Yeah.
Oh, they get spooky?
Mostly creepy though. Especially Christina Ricci. I'd have to go with Monsters just because, like Dan said, they're a little bit more fun and just way less creepy than Angelica Houston and some of those other people. Christopher Lloyd, fun guy, but kind of weird in that role. So I don't know.
I love the Addams Family. I actually just rewatched it the other night. I found it on Netflix, and I had to watch it again. I feel like I would definitely be safer in the Munster household because the Addams Family does play with knives. They electrocute each other. There's like a whole bunch of weird, like really potentially life-ending situations where the Munsters are just monsters, which would be really cool to hang out with and be part of that family because they are monsters. The Addams Family is more homicidal maniac, but I still love those movies, and I never actually read the comic of the Addams Family, but I think that'd be really interesting to check out. For my second one, I have something a little bit more risque. Would you guys rather do it with She-Hulk, in She-Hulk Green Hulk form, or fight Wolverine?
Well, I'm glad you said fight Wolverine and not like want to make this an easy decision. I think She-Hulk's going to be more gentle.
Are you sure about that? Did you watch the one episode of Futurama where they ran into the Amazonians? The Snoo? I
did see that.
Death by Snoo.
I think I'd go fight Wolverine, honestly, just because I think it would just that's like a thing that you can kind of be proud of, the fact that you're fighting Wolverine and standing up to him. If you don't try to kill him, maybe he won't kill you. I don't know. I'm going to go fight Wolverine just because I think that would be a challenge, and I would get my butt kicked, no doubt, but I get to meet him, and Hugh Jackman seems like a nice guy. So.
Yeah, I would have to second that. I think I would fight Wolverine just because that would kind of immediately increase my badass rating by like 5 times. So, like, well, he fought Wolverine. I know Dan was saying a lot of the same things. I feel like I could really piss him off if I really bragged up Cyclops and said Cyclops is awesome. But I don't know. I think that would be funny.
It's essentially, do you want to be bruised or cut a bunch of times?
I think She-Hulk would kind of hurt you, not just physically, but in an emotional state that you'll never, ever get over ever again. So
that's all women.
Also, she might be clinging afterwards. I think once you fight Wolverine, it's done and over with. He's not calling you later.
Plus, she's a lawyer, so you're screwed.
We don't, seriously, we have nothing against women. You do hurt us though, ladies.
But yeah, I'd go fight Wolverine just because, hey, why not? It's like the bucket list of superheroes, I guess.
Give me a lightsaber and I would totally take on Wolverine.
I guess then that'll answer that question if a lightsaber can go through adamantium.
Do you guys want to know my answer?
I think we know your answer, Greg.
Good, because I was going to say the exact same thing. If you don't know my answer, you need to go back and listen from episode 1 and listen all the way through.
We're going to get Greg She-Hulk babies. There'll be little Greglers with green and everything. I don't know.
Gregler smash!
Somehow they'll turn out just completely normal looking.
Hopefully they look like her, not me.
You did have that accident a few weeks ago, so you have something to relate to for your conversation. The gamma bomb?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's Would You Rather. So before we go, we have some news stories we're going to cover, and no, these aren't like movie news stories. These aren't television casting rumors, all that stuff. This is more kind of out there, crazy, but true news stories, and I wanted to kick this off with a crazy news story that I found.
We need the noise.
Morse code? Yeah.
We just got it.
The noise. For the old broadcast.
Oh, yeah. Breaking news that probably happened a few weeks ago. But we're bringing it to you here first. Not really first, but eventually. But my first news story, I guess I have a question for you guys. You guys know dolphins, right? You guys have seen dolphins.
Miami dolphins?
No, actual dolphins.
The ones that are raping human beings?
That I was not aware of.
What?
Yeah. Apparently,
I guess your news story sounds more interesting than Dan's.
Mine isn't about dolphins, but okay. I've heard things in the news about dolphins get quite frisky with some human beings.
I guess we watch different news channels.
I don't really watch news channels.
Surprisingly enough, these dolphins are in relation to Russia. You might be thinking, Russia and dolphins, what do they have to mix? Well,
dolphins are very pissed off about the Crimea situation.
Well, they might be. Actually, they seem to have switched sides in certain instances. And what I mean by that is, well, basically Russia has taken a fleet of military dolphins, yes, a fleet of military dolphins trained by the Ukrainian Navy, and now those dolphins, who were once fighting on the side of Ukraine, are now the property of Russia. And yes, I said fighting, and I said dolphins, and this is actually true. Ukraine was training dolphins to be assassins. Not They were training them for a few things, to detect bombs and mines in the oceans, but that's not just it. And I'm not going to lie, once I saw this news story, the biggest reason I wanted to do this story is so I can call this episode Assassination by Dolphin. Because if you're going to go out, being assassinated by a dolphin is a pretty good reason why. These dolphins, once the Ukrainian situation happened and Russia went into Crimea, they have taken back these dolphins. These dolphins, which in 2012, Ukraine was training to attack enemy swimmers by putting knives on their heads as well as pistols.
See, I was thinking they were converting sniper rifles to fins.
Are there sharks with laser beams attached to their heads?
They didn't get freaking laser beams, but they had guns and they had knives, and this was a thing they were doing. In reality, this was not. Apparently, Ukraine was building their military off of the theories of Bond villains. What we don't realize is their volcano plant is still under development at this point. But I just thought this was crazy that Russia now owns military dolphins that were training to be assassins. It's just, to me, rather crazy.
Is Aquaman Russian?
Yeah, it's nuts, but it's actually true. And it just kind of shows you that Flipper could be a badass, and maybe we should have included him in our tournament last week, I guess.
Flipper's flipping sides.
I guess so.
Well, they do kill some sharks, so, they're pretty tough.
Yeah.
And they rape human beings to death.
So, I think it's only a matter of time until we're taken over by dolphins. So, if you've ever seen the Simpsons episode where that actually happens, I just can imagine the idea of getting killed by a dolphin with a knife attached to its head, when it's like, oh my god, look, a dolphin! Oh, I'm dead. But
I didn't know Stan's dad was Russian.
But all right, that's all. That's my news story. Hopefully you found it interesting. And I should mention I'll include some of these in the show notes on the website, so you can actually read this and realize I'm not making this up. This is actually true. So, Chuck, you also have some stories. What are yours?
Well, I'll start off with a more lighthearted one. It's
more lighthearted than Killer Dolphins?
Yeah, little more levity to this one. It's just a real quick story that I happened to come across. I'm not sure where the location of this was, but a man was arrested for stealing a boat. Sounds simple enough, right? You might think that, okay, he started up the motor and he took off, or maybe he loaded it onto a trailer and drove away with it, or maybe just plain rode the boat the old-fashioned way. But that's where you'd be wrong. You see, those are all logical conclusions. Something your average criminal would do, but not this guy. No, this guy jumped into the water and proceeded to pull the boat behind him as he swam through the water.
Wow.
Do you understand the concept of a boat, son? They keep you out of the water. They make things easier. So, yeah, good job by that guy.
Question, was this guy from Florida?
Probably. Maybe Nebraska, because they're not too familiar with boats.
What we don't know is, like, a few weeks ago, he stole a bike by tying it to a skateboard and going down the hill.
I don't know. It must have been somewhere where they're not too, familiar with boats and how they work. Which, I don't know. I just thought that was a real funny story. My second one, this is also true, of course. Our stories are true, but this one has more of a impact on the scientific community. This is something they're actively seeking out to do.
Space Pope?
Space Pope.
Popes in space.
This one, maybe it's something that could be used by the Space Pope one day. Love that term, by the way. We are copywriting that. I want a quarter every time somebody says it. But actually, scientists are they already have developed urine-powered robots.
Kevin Costner in Underworld is ready to go.
This would be perfect in space. Yeah, urine-powered robots. I kind of thought we already had these with automatic flushing toilets. But actually, these are called ecobots, and they have...
It's R. Kelly's girlfriends.
I'm guessing this development happened when, say, someone was enjoying a robot and suddenly again got caught. It's like, oh no, it's urine powered. That's what I'm doing. I'm not misbehaving with this robot. This is for research. She agreed to this.
Let's be honest, you caught me doing way worse things.
We're just full of Iron Man quotes tonight. But actually, these robots are called ecobots, and they have microbial fuel cells inside them, which means they have little live microbes that digest organic material, and by a chemical reaction, they generate electrical energy. I think they could find a way to make one of these power like a coffee maker or something, and you would never actually have to move. You just drink the coffee, fuel the robot. It's a vicious cycle.
I'm just waiting for this to be a thing in the next Transformers movie.
Yeah. Ecobots.
That would hurt to pee on short pitches.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a cool idea, but I just hope they're not creepy and they follow you around like those little vacuum cleaners. Just wanting you to pee in them. They're just following you around the house. But I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. But the funny thing is, they want to use the energy produced from these things to do things like monitor air quality and pollution levels. And it's funny because I hope that they're not going to be using it to check the air quality too close to where you put the fuel in. So, stay tuned to see where those developments go, because that's a pretty interesting story there. So,
all right, so we got killer dolphins, we got peeing robots, and a guy who doesn't know how to ride a boat. So, Greg, what do you got?
Nothing quite as interesting, I don't think. I just have a story I got from Yahoo, which, by the way, if you're looking for news, don't go to Yahoo.
Yahoo is the king of creating interesting headlines about stupid stories. It's like, oh my god, you won't believe this thing that happened, and then yes, you will, because it's normal.
Yes, this person didn't get the memo about interesting story headlines. Let me bring it up here. But also on Yahoo, if you look up a story, they're like, see the new logo for 75th anniversary of Batman. You click on the link, no picture. Whole reason that I'm clicking on this link, no picture whatsoever. One time see this situation going on. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a picture. There was a picture. It was the size of a thumbnail. But the headline for this one is, drunk college student breaks into business, eats half a box of Hot Pockets, passes out. I don't think this person that's writing this knows that a half a box of Hot Pockets is one Hot Pocket. It's not that phenomenal. It's one Hot Pocket. I eat an entire box. I don't make it into the news.
Bullshit, Craig.
I'm shitting into a bucket afterwards in a corner, but I can eat an entire box of Hot Pocket. I'm so glad you said that.
If Frank has taught us anything, it is the importance of shitting in a bucket.
As a space boat.
But essentially, this kid broke through a wall to get into this, what did they say, massage therapy business. Right. He couldn't get the door to work. He couldn't get through the door, so he crashed through the wall. Then he continues to trash the place. He gets out, apparently he makes himself a Hot Pocket along with some macaroni and cheese. You'd think that would have been tacked on the headline since the half box of Hot Pockets was impressive.
It's a good combo.
That's a full meal. I mean, you got dairy, you got bread, you got, preservatives and lots of preservatives.
But this kid puts it in the oven to heat it up a little bit. He didn't want to eat it cold. Besides, you eat a Hot Pocket, you get, once again, a Jim Gaffigan joke. You either get it ice cold in the center, or you get it extremely lava hot. There's only two options. But while he's heating it up in the oven, apparently he passes out, falls asleep, and which the oven is just going by itself, not being monitored. The fire alarms go off, which alerts the fire department to come in. Kid's asleep during this whole thing. The cops show up, fire department shows up. He sleeps through the entire situation.
Nice. He was tired. I mean, college students are busy. So.
Moral of the story, don't eat Hot Pockets.
The worst thing he did that night was eat a Hot Pocket. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed our news of the weird. And hopefully you enjoyed those stories, and we'll probably do this again sometime. Let us know what you thought. But before we go, we like to end each episode with a letter. And inspired by their trip down here, Chuck has a letter for those infamous drivers that, maybe need to be taught a lesson or two. So, Chuck, why don't you take it away?
Okay, this letter is actually from... I like to say it's a joint letter from Greg and myself.
It's a Greg and Chuck joint.
So, yeah, let's roll this joint.
They were both the directors on this one.
Yeah. All right, here goes. Dear horrible drivers of America, or HDA for short. Where on earth did you get your driver's licenses? There appears to be an epidemic sweeping the nation in which drivers have lost all sensibility once the rubber meets the road. Your effectiveness behind the wheel is reminiscent of a toddler trying to take his first steps. We know what you're trying to do, but it's evident that you have zero experience in this area. So the symptoms of this affliction can manifest in a number of ways, all of which we experience on a daily basis. Firstly, it seems as though turn signals were just a fad and are completely out of style now. With anything from simple lane changes to full-fledged turning movements, you people have completely boycotted the use of turn signals. Perhaps that's our problem, though. We should really be able to predict exactly what you're going to do without any hints. Come on. Let's be honest. No, you're right. A multi-car accident on my morning commute is much easier than you taking half a second to flick a little switch that is literally 1 inch from your finger. What was I thinking? The second cardinal sin of driving that we find you guilty of is your total lack of understanding of what a yield sign means. I realize this is a tough one. Hey, there aren't a whole lot of triangle shapes out there on the highway, so it can be a bit tricky. I know we've mastered circles here on Talking in Circles. Now we gotta work on triangles. Upside down triangles. So allow us to fill you in. What a yield sign is not for is driving as fast as possible and haphazardly merging your fat ass directly in front of other cars, forcing them to slam on their brakes. A yield sign is also not for bringing your own car to a screeching halt when there's absolutely no one coming. Sorry, but I don't feel like jamming on my brakes and having all my shit slide off the seat at 45 miles per hour. Simply put, you slow and yield to someone that's coming. If no one's around, you punch that sucker and get the frig out of my way. The third thing that you champions of the accelerator need to learn is to not freaking tailgate. Seriously, you just can't follow right on someone's bumper going down the highway, or even stop too close behind them at a red light. Those with a stick shift have a particular gripe with that one.
That's me.
Honestly, you just need to back off and be patient. Think of it this way. If I'm trucking along and need to stop quick, you're probably buying me a brand new vehicle. And busting up that pretty face years in the process. No doubt there are a laundry list of other offenses that you people commit out in the fast lane, like going really slow and staying in that fast lane for no reason, and not understanding how the right-of-way at a stop-controlled intersection works, or jamming your irritating car into the small gap that I'm using for safe following distance to the guy in front of me. All very relatable examples for us folk with decent common sense. So as I say a big sarcastic thanks to all you dumb arses, I leave you with this advice as a parting gift. Don't jeopardize someone's life or even act like a jerk face just to save a few seconds. Sincerely, Chuck and Greg.
Very nice, fellas, and I sincerely agree. Though, I'm sure I'm guilty of some of those. I don't know. So the yield thing to me is like, how do you not understand how yield works? That's the worst.
I think we're all guilty at some point or another. I think it's just having an awareness of it and trying to cut down on it a little bit more.
Yeah. And a blinker is your friend. It will not bite you.
You seriously just have to put out a finger and press it down. It's better than lifting your whole arm up and then lifting your middle finger.
Nice. I think that will do it for us for this week. Remember to join us again for next week, and also make sure to leave us some feedback, and there's a number of different ways to do that. You can send us an email at feedback@geekcastradio.com or talkingincircles@live.com. You can find us on Twitter by searching Talking in Circles GCRN, or on Facebook as well. A lot of ways to get in contact with us. Also going to geekcastradio.com and commenting on the episode post. We got a lot of comments regarding our badass bracket. We'd love to see those again, letting us know what you like, what you don't like. Love getting that feedback. Speaking of which, subscribing on iTunes, giving us a review. Thank you for all the reviews we've gotten so far. They've been great. We're up to, I think, 4 or 5 already, which is pretty cool to see. Anyways, we'll be back again next week, same time, same channel, same 3 guys, just having fun. But for now,
this has been Chuck.
This has been Greg, or Morgan Freeman as Anne Frank.
And this has been Dan, shitting in a bucket. And we've been Talking in Circles. We'll see you next week.
Shitting in a bucket.
We need
shitting in a bucket.
What we need is a Pope shitting in a bucket in space.
Peeing into a robot.
With a fleet of assassin dolphins.
There's a lot of bodily function. God, we got the burp, we got the urinating, shitting in a bucket.
They're just flying around, just doing circles, and that's all coming out of you.
A lot of stuff is coming out.
The girl, she goes into the Fearless tribe, I guess you'd call it, and that's an edit.
That was Fearless.
It really reeks too. Sorry.
This is why we don't do this in person.
This
Screw you guys, I'm going back home.
This is the scratch and sniff episode.
Oh god.
Both done by us.
Way too attracted to this kid who's like 18.
Iris database has been updated.
It's good to know. We're all clear, everybody. Everybody at this table is clean. It's all good.
Iris database is updated. No fear.
But it.
Ass clown computer. Put it on the screen. Stop telling me. Stock
Iron Man
reference.
quote.